A very pleasant good morning, good afternoon, good evening, magandang umaga po, magandang tanghali, magandang hapon, at magandang gabi, wherever you're located and whatever your time zone is. Welcome to Crossfire, and this is Rita Gadi together with Paglinawan. But this afternoon, we have a very special guest because we have very special issues that we have to discuss, that we have to be aware of, that we have to be involved in. Crossfire is precisely that. It's an interchange. It's a reciprocating of several thoughts and ideas, and this is exactly what we're trying to do. We have to balance this in a way, and that's exactly what our title is, diplomatic balancing. We are well aware of many things that are happening within our country, many concerns, many issues, but what is most important is what's happening outside that affects us directly, more directly than indirectly. So I'd introduce our guest, Mr. Ricardo Saludo, Sir Rick, as we used to call him. He has been formerly with the Civil Service Commission. He was secretary in some administration in the past. But most importantly, it's the sensei.
Yes.
We can talk about this because that's exactly what we want to get into with your thoughts. This is one of the finest minds this side of the planet.
Thank you, Rita, and thank you, Ado, for inviting me here. Siyempre, pag-uusapan natin ngayon, I would say, is a life and death issue for our people. So please hang on. Yung nabanggit ni Rita, my past in the government was cabinet secretary for 8 years in the Royal Administration. Tayo po namamahala ng mga punong ng gabinete. And after that, a couple of years at the Civil Service Commission as chairman, and then presidential spokesperson in my last 6 months in government. At ito pong, at ang isa pa rin natin ipinapasok dito sa usapan, ang pagiging matpatnugot natin at manunulat, a writer, editor with Asiaweek magazine in Hong Kong. Sinusubaybayan po natin ang mga nangyayari sa buong rehiyon ng Asia. 17 years po tayo sa Hong Kong. And all of this experience we have put in our current enterprise. We have a think tank, a strategic advisory company called Sensei. Yung pong Sensei ay Center for Strategy, Enterprise, and Intelligence. And today we will bring in strategy and intelligence para himayin itong usapin ng mga base militar. Base militar po siyang na ipagagamit sa Amerika that will be open to U.S. forces to use. And they have openly said that these bases would be crucial in their confrontation with China over, not the Philippines, over Taiwan.
Yan ang mahalaga dyan. Kaya last week kami ni Ado, pinag-usapan din namin kung gaano kadelikado itong nangyayari sa kasalukuyan. Tayo ay nagbibigay ng tiwala sa ating Pangulo, Head of State. And besides, precisely when we were closing our program last week, we were saying that in the pinnacle of power, siya lang talaga nakakakita kung ano ang nangyayari. We do not occupy that seat. Only he knows. But then again, does he know everything that is actually happening outside? And Ado is going to emphasize more of that in line with the strategic studies and ideas and thoughts that Rick Saludo has already presented to us.
Sir Rick, this might be a long introduction, but Jarius Bondok of Philippine Star over DWIC this morning was interviewing a general whom I will not name, who is of the belief that we have to preposition our bases with the Americans in order that in case of an attack by China, the U.S. can respond immediately. Now, in 1941, Japan attacked the Philippines. They returned 4 years after. The toll, 1 million dead human beings, 1 million dead Carabals. In the Scarborough Shoal standoff, China did not withdraw, even if the Philippines already withdrew the BRP Gregorio del Pilar. The U.S. did nothing. During the proceedings of the Permanent Court of Arbitration, where the Philippines took its case against China in the South China Sea, the Americans just watched while the Chinese were reclaiming and fortifying their 5 to 8 islands in the area. In sometime in 2011, 2012, when asked what the US would do if China attacked Filipino forces in the Spratly Islands, Secretary Hillary Clinton sidetracked ABS-CBN by responding, "I am not going to discuss hypothetical events." Now here is a clip from President Ferdinand Edwin Marcos Sr. in the National Press Club of Washington, D.C. on September 1982, when asked about the Mutual Defense Treaty.
What is it that is necessary in order that we can perform our job?
Hala, nagalit na. Nagalit na si Makoy, ang tatang ko. Paano? Ini-small-small ang Pilipino. Kahit mahal natin yung mga Amerikano, wag naman binabasta-basta ang Pilipino. Ayan.
You and I know that if the Philippines is attacked, the United States is not necessarily bound to immediately react.
Yan ang problema. Naku, tama yung sinasabi. Dekada 80 pa yan, alam na ng tatang ko na hindi obligado ang Amerikano ipagtanggol ang Pilipino. Mamaya, sugod tayo ng sugod sa kung sino man pumapasok sa West Philippine Sea, hindi naman natin kaya. Kaya hinay-hinay, hunos-dili, inot-inot sa Ilocano. Hindi po pwede yan.
So you have it there, the Mutual Defense Treaty, which should have been undergoing review but never happened that way. And then you have the appendicitis, the appendix, yung appendicitis ng MDT, which is the EDCA, the Visiting Forces Agreement, and whatever else is connected there. Ayan na.
The president ended with this, that they would react according to their constitutional processes. What does that mean? Marcos said, that means you will be discussing it here in your Congress. What does that mean? That would mean delay. That would mean that while you are talking about it here, we are already dying over here. Sir Rick, take it away.
Yeah, well, I'd like to add something I would say, even more worrying and pertinent, since we're talking about bases. No? And this is what President Marcos said in 1975, just 3 years after declaring martial law. And he said, if the purpose of American military bases, we still had 2 bases then, is to strengthen American military posture in the Pacific or in the Indian Ocean, yun yung tinatawag na Indo-Pacific.
Bagong pangalan
Okay, so
natin.
the posture in the Pacific and in the Indian Ocean and throughout the world, does this not expose the Philippines to the animosities, suspicions, and conflicts arising out of this American military buildup? And do not these bases endanger the safety of the Filipinos and the Philippines, not only from conventional armed attack, but from possible nuclear attack? Ito po ang sinabi ng nasirang dating Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos, 1975, nung pa po, nagbababala na siya tungkol dito sa mga base militar na maaaring itong maging dahilan upang atakihin tayo, hindi lang ng mga armas na hindi nuklear, kundi pati nuklear ay pwedeng tumama sa atin. Yan po, ang ama ng kasalukuyan natin Pangulo, nagbabala na noong 1975. At ngayon, bibigyan ang Amerikano ng 9 na base militar. Dito po ang mga, I'll list the places. No? I'll list them, no? And makinig po kayo kasi baka katabi nyo ito, no? Dahil sa lugar nyo. They have already identified 5 bases right after the EDSA was signed. EDCA. The EDCA was signed. No? And EDCA is the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. Ang mga base po na napili na nila, isa po sa Nueva Ecija, isa sa Pampanga. Doon po sa lugar ng Central Luzon. Then they chose one next to Cebu, yung Mactan, nandun po. And then next to Puerto Princesa sa Palawan. And the Laguindingan Airport in Cagayan de Oro. Yan na po ang 5. Tapos meron pa po 4 na idaragdag na hindi pa sinasabi kung saan. Although before he stepped down as Defense OIC, si OIC Faustino actually named 5 places. The 5 bases were 2 in Cagayan, 1 in Isabela, 1 in Zambales, and another 1 in Palawan. So 2 sa Palawan, 2 sa Cagayan, 1 sa Isabela, at 1 sa Subic. Ngayon, baka they're not naming them now. They're perhaps careful not to say where they are, no? But these are the bases, and you will notice most of them are in Luzon and in Palawan. And guess why? Because it is the closest to Taiwan. So yun, malinaw po. Dito sa mga base ito.
Pointed at the South China Sea.
Oo. But yung South China Sea sa Palawan, no? Pero yung Luzon, they're actually not so close to the South China Sea. They're really more toward the north.
Taiwan,
No?
exactly.
And this is very disturbing, especially if they are subject to nuclear attack, which of course the fallout will contaminate nearby areas. And the very great danger to us is if Nueva Ecija and Pampanga are nuked, it contaminates our rice supply.
Exactly.
Rice granary po natin yan. Doon po nanggagaling ang malaking bahagi ng ating palay. Eh pag nag-nuclear fallout po dyan, ano
Hirap na nga tayo sa kasalukuyan.
yun po, hindi, ewan ko ito ay, napansin ninyo yung mga nagsusulong nitong EDCA, hindi ito binabanggit. Hindi sinasabi, mga general, pati si...
I would just like to react to that, which is what happened in World War II. Because what the Japanese did was blockade Highway 1, which is now MacArthur Highway, west to east. And in the east were the rice granaries. And on the west were our 100,000 USAF forces who starved because of the blockade. Yes.
Saan ba nagsimula kasi ito? Hindi ba? Kung titingnan natin, may mga dispute daw sa South China Sea. May mga islands, may mga rocks, may mga shoals. Ilang bansa ang nagdi-dispute dyan? Andyan ang Vietnam, andyan ang Malaysia, andyan ang Indonesia, andyan ang Brunei, andyan ang Taiwan, andyan ang Pilipinas. Paano nakapasok ang Amerika dito? Ito ay within our region. America is across the Pacific. That's about 10,000 nautical miles away. Anong dinidefensa nila na kailangan andito sila? Tayo daw. Ito daw real na ito. But you must remember that the South China Sea is the opening of the road, of the highway in front of China. Para bang pag nagbukas kayo ng front door ninyo, ay ang kalsada dyan, yan ang South China Sea. So saan dadaan ang China? First, yung pagkuha niya ng mga resources para sa kanya, like oil, at saan naman siya dadaan para ilabas naman yung kanyang products. So saan ito nagsimula? 2 base. Na-mention ni Sir Rick. Sabi niya, Clark and Subic, nawala na yan. Nakita natin yung mga pinakita sa video kung paano nagtakbuhan sila because of the eruption ng Pinatubo. Yung sa naval base, wala na rin yan. Saan ang galing itong EDCA na ito na nagkaroon ng 5 nung panahon na yon? Philippine bases na andyan nakatalaga ang American forces, American soldiers, American equipment, American hardware. Tayo ang nagbabayad ng elektrisidad, ng tubig. Paano sila nangyari na nagkaroon yan?
Teka muna. Nasa konstitusyon natin na prohibited ang presence ng foreign troops dito sa ating bansa, foreign bases. Bakit biglang nanayon na naman yata ang double stick ng mga abogado at biglang konstitutional ito? Anong mangyari dyan?
I think, medyo ang kanilang sinusunod dito na hindi naman talaga base ito. There are now troops based here. Kasi bahagi ito ng Visiting Forces Agreement. Merong Visiting Forces Agreement na hindi sila permanente rito, padalaw-dalaw lang. So ang sa sinasabi, dito under the EDCA, nagkaroon lang dyan ng mga facilities para dito sa mga visiting forces. So technically, ang tawag nila dyan, hindi ang base ng Amerikano.
They changed the name.
Yeah,
Ang tawag
they're
ngayon,
Philippine bases,
ang tawag
kaya
nila,
paggamit lang.
ang tawag nila ngayon, sites.
Yan, ayaw na tawag yung bases.
Oo.
No?
Philippine bases, sites.
Sites, oo. Ayun.
Ngayon, ang uulitin ko din, no? Whether these are sites or bases, pag pinagamit mo sa mga puwersa ng ibang bansa, kalaban ka nung mga kalaban ng puwersa yun. Yun ang delikado, no? When you let foreign forces use your bases, you end up sinabi niyo ng ating nasirang Pangulong Marcos, you end up being adversaries of that foreign power. Ang kalaban ng Amerika, China, damay tayo. No? Gusto ba natin yun? Gusto ba natin na tayo tinatarget ng China kung sakaling magkagera, lalo na sa Taiwan? Yan po ang delikado dyan. And I will quote a very important study by the RAND Corporation. Ito pong pag-aaral na ito, report po ito ng RAND Corporation na pinondohan ng US Army. Okay? Kasi yung RAND Corporation sa Amerika, nagkagawa po yan ng mga pagsusuri para sa militar ng Amerika. Meron silang pagsusuri noong around October 2016. Ang pamagat, War with China, Thinking Through the Unthinkable. Yung po ang pamagat, hanapin nyo sa internet. War with China, Thinking Through the Unthinkable. Ano ang sabi nila ron? Pagka magkakagera o nagkagera na, kasi kung pwede, magkakagera pa lang, pwede atakihin na eh. Ang unang aatakihin ng People's Liberation Army ng Katipunan China ay mga aircraft carrier ng Amerikano, yung mga barko kung saan pwedeng mag-take off ang mga aeroplano. At yung mga base na ginagamit nila. So halimbawa, magpagamit tayo ito ng siyam na base ng AFP pagagamit sa Amerika, tatargetin po yan ng People's Liberation Army kung sakaling magkakagera sa Amerika. Hindi po ako ang nagsasabi niyan. Ang nagsasabi po niyan, RAND Corporation ng Amerika. Pagkatapos babanggitin ko yun, ang isa pang think tank, no? Ito yung Center for New American Security, CNAS. Gumawa po sila ng war games tungkol sa Taiwan. Kung sakaling magkaroon ng gera sa Taiwan, may war games sila. Anong nakita dito sa war game? Makikita ninyo to sa YouTube. Ano doon sa war games nila, CNAS war games, hanapin niyo po yan. Ang magiging sa kanilang senaryo, magkakaroon ng gera, may mga aeroplanong Amerikano aatakin mula sa Pilipinas.
Mga
Amerikanong aircraft, mga fighter jet, mga bombers, manggagaling sa Pilipinas kasi may mga base sila rito. Aatakihin ang China. At ano mangyayari? Hindi ko na kailangan sabihin sa inyo, sasagot ang China, aatake din sa Pilipinas. Ganyan po. At hindi na po tayo nagsasabi nito. Center for New American Security, hanapin niyo po yan, Taiwan War Games. Makikita niyo po dyan, and I can tell you in the video from NBC, Meet the Press, yan po yung nagpalabas. 7 minutes into the video, makikita niyo sa diagram, aatake ang mga Amerikano mula sa Pilipinas. 10 minutes into the video, sasagot ang China, aatakihin ang Pilipinas.
So, ang nangyayari dito isang double-edged sword, Sir Nick, no? Kasi parang nangyayari dito, hindi na mutual defense treaty ito. No? Kasi ito sa defense, in case of an attack on the Philippines, the US is forced to respond, no? In behalf of the Philippines. Pero kung sila aatake at aatakihin sila, in case of an attack on the US forces, no? The Philippines is immediately dragged into the situation. Yan ang kinatatakot ko.
Exactly. Kaya nakita niyo yung programa natin.
Crossfire.
Yeah, exactly what Crossfire is. You have this action that's happening, tayo maiipit. Let's go back in history and really trace all of this. Sapagkat the United Nations came after the Second World War precisely with that objective, Sir Rick, to have peace in the world. Ngunit, ang dami pa rin nangyaring hidwaan. Just to recall, for instance, the surrogate war in Vietnam, Russia and the Soviet Union versus America. Tapos, sige na, marami na yan. Nagkaroon ng Syria, Afghanistan, lahat ng yan. Pero most recently, sa Ukraine and Russia. At sinasabi nga, tayo ba ay magiging kagaya na rin na nangyari doon sa Ukraine? I think, Sir Rick, you can explain that further to be able to see the parallelisms of what's happening every time there is some kind of a conflict that is being pushed against a country, against another country, which is an enemy of this hegemon, the United States of America. How does it go?
Well, I think we can look at this also at the geopolitical level. Pag-usapan na natin kung anong epekto sa atin sa Pilipinas. At sabi na natin, malaking panganib ito para sa atin. Pero ano ba po ang nangyayari rin dito? Yung pong yung mga superpower na tinatawag, ito ang Amerika, ang Russia, ang China, at yung NATO na nasa Europe, ito ang alyansa ng Amerika sa Europa. Sila po ay matagal nang nagdidirian, lalo pa sa Europa. Ngayon, ang pinakahuli niyan ay nagkaroon na nitong big mass attack. Bakit nangyari yon? Isang dahilan na sinabi mismo ng mga akademiko ay dahil po itong NATO alliance na pinamuna Amerika sa Europa, palapit na ng palapit sa Russia. Hanggang dumating na nga na yung mismong bansang katabi ng Russia, yung Ukraine, lalahok sa NATO. Sabi ng Russia, hindi pwede yan, masyadong nangingiligro kami. Masyado kami nangingiligro. Hindi, ipinilit. Di nagkaroon ng digma. No? Nagkaroon ng digma, lalo pa nung sinabi ng Ukraine, hindi lang nalhasali sila sa NATO, sabi pa nila, within 3 years, we will double our armed forces. Ay, sinong bansa na sinabi nung katabi mong bansa, dodoblihin ko yung aking puwersa, tapos sasali ako doon sa kalaban mo, wala, maghihin.
At umiikot siya, pumunta ng Britain, pumunta sa United Nations, pumunta sa ibang bansa.
So yun po,
Sir is trying to say, paghihintay pa ba ang Russia?
nangyari, umatakan na Russia. Ngayon, punta tayo sa Asia ngayon. Ang Amerika, magtatayo ng armas dito. Ang tawag ko nga dyan, we will be weaponized. No? Yung mga siyam na basing yun, nandun ang kanilang mga armas, ang mga puwersa. Tinatanong ko sa inyo, ang China ba maghihintay na makapwesto dito ang lahat ng mga puwersa ng Amerika bago sila kumilos? Sana hindi. Sana maghintay. Pero kung hindi maghintay yan, ang kawawa, palagi ko hindi tayo, ang pinakawawa, Taiwan. Yun ang dapat sana maisip, lalo ng mga taga-Taiwan. Sa paglakay dito ng puwersas ng Amerikano sa Pilipinas, baka kumilos na ang China kontra dito sa isla na para sa kanila ay bahagi ng kanilang bansa. Pag-isipan niyo po yan.
Tinatanong na natin, paano ba nakapasok yan ganyan? Yung mga base na yan. Kung babalikan na naman natin, eto na naman ako, yung aking history kasi, panahon pa ni Ferdinand Edralin Marcos. Naalala ninyo yung, nabanggit ko na, yung gera sa Vietnam. Surrogate war, sapagkat kagaya na nangyayari sa ngayon ay andyan ang China at andyan ang Amerika. Noong panahon na yon, ang Amerika at ang Soviet Union. Doon sila naglalaban sa Vietnam. Okay. Si Marcos, presidente, kauupo pa lang. After siguro mga 2 months pa lang or 3 months, inimbita na siya sa Amerika para doon magsalita siya at sabihin na ang Pilipinas, an ally of America, will be joining America sa Vietnam War. Kaya ang ginawa sa kanya, pinagwapo talaga siya. Nasa mga dyaryo, nasa mga periodiko, nasa mga magazine, the war hero, our bastion of democracy, itong Pilipinas. When Marcos addressed the Joint Congress sa Amerika, hindi na pinag-usapan ng Vietnam. Ang sinabi niya doon, America should not forget. Yung sinasabi niyo na benefits ng mga lumaban ng mga Pilipino nung gera, ng World War II ay babayaran, bakit hanggang ngayon wala pa? 1946, yung 44 natapos ang gera, and 1966 na, 2 dekada na. America should not forget. So nagalit ang Amerika. Anong ginawa? Si Lyndon Johnson nagpatawag ng meeting dito sa Maynila. 10 days after, pinatawag noon ang mga ibang bansa dito sa rehiyon para pilitin na naman si Ferdinand Edralin Marcos na magsabi, sasama na kami sa Amerika. Hindi siya sumama. So he went against the pressure of America. Ano nangyaring pressure dito kay Noynoy Aquino na nabigyan ng 5 base pa dito. So maliban dyan, si Marcos din, yung ama ni Junior, nagsabi din na hindi na pwede yung Amerika na yan na sila lang nasa Clark at saka sa Subic. Anong sinabi na itaas ang Philippine flag, bawasan ang hectares, magbayad kayo ng rent, hindi lang basta pwede aid. Ang dami niyang sinabi, laban.
Binawasan pa ng 25 years.
Binawasan na ng 25 and then to be reviewed by 5. Kaya nga 1992, doon na natapos yung sinasabi ng 25 years. Kung hindi ginawa ni Marcos yun, 99 years yan. Ang mangyayari, sabi nga ni Castro, 30 years of occupation is ownership sa magiging owner, possession ng Amerika. So you could see that at that time, na ang lakas-lakas, iisa lang yung hegemon na yan. The most powerful country in the world, the United States of America, our former colonizer, talagang hinindian ni President Marcos. Anong nangyayari ngayon? This is now our dangerous diplomacy na nakakabahala. Bakit hindi tayo makahindi sa kanilang mga gustong gawin dito sa atin?
Ang isa din ang binibigay ng mga kasamaan natin, maski sa media, no? Kailangan daw natin Amerika para depensa yung mga isla sa South China Sea. Isang bagay na siguro dapat isip natin yan. Dahilan ba para idepensa yung malalayong isla na halos walang Pilipino ron, walang nakatira ron? Dedepensahan mo yun, pero anong ipapahamak mo? Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Zambales, Cagayan de Oro, Cebu, Palawan. Hindi ko yata maintindihan yun. Ipapahamak natin ang mga kababayan natin dito sa mga lugar na ito para depensahan ng mga isla na walang Pilipino nakatira ron. Hindi ko sinasabing wag depensahan yun. Sa katunayan, noong 2012 na nawala sa atin yung Scarborough Shoal, may isang think tank sa Washington, isa pa itong think tank. Ang pangalan, Center for Strategic and Budgetary Assessments. Ito ang isa sa pangunahing think tank sa Amerika na kaya budgetary assessment, sila ang nagsusuri ng mga gagastusin ng Amerika para sa military. They assess the military budget to make sure that it serves the U.S. strategic interest. So yung CSBA came up with a study, a report, ang pangalan, The Geostrategic Return of the Philippines. Hanapin niya sa internet. The Geostrategic Return of the Philippines. Ano ang rekomendasyon nila doon? Para maidepensa natin ang sarili natin. Ang sarili natin. They suggested 3 things. All of which are anti-access area denial assets. Ang ibig sabihin, pag meron ka niyan, matedepensahan mo ang isang area. Yung tatlong yon, maritime surveillance aircraft para masuri natin, masubaybayan natin ang ating mga katubigan, yung mga karagatan. Anti-ship missiles, hindi mga barko. No, anti-ship missiles. Bakit? Kasi yung mga yan, isang missile lang, palulubugin ng isang battleship o ang isang barko. Samantala kung lalaban ka ng barko sa barko, ubus tayo. Anti-ship missiles. At yung pangatlo, air defense systems. Kailangan depensahan mo ang darating ang mga eroplano at dedepensahin mo rin lalo na yung mga missile. No? Kasi yung missiles mo, tatargetin niya ng eroplano, kailangan meron kang panlaban doon. That is what I think tank in America advised to us. Hindi sunod ng Amerika. Kasi gusto nila, I think this is the reason, they want us to be dependent on them. But this is what was advised to us. And if we have this, alam niyo yung nasirang National Security Advisor dati, si Congressman Roy Valdes, who is a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. Alam niya po ang Navy. Yeah. Secretary Valdes, he was my colleague in the Royal Cabinet. He was National Security Advisor then. Ang kanyang suggestion, let us buy 200 BrahMos missile. Ano po yung BrahMos? Ang BrahMos po, ito ay missile na ginawa ng India at Russia. Kaya yung pangalan po niyan ay BrahMos. Brahmaputra and Moscow. Yung dalawang ilog na importante sa India at sa Russia. Ito pong missile na ito, 300 to 400 kilometers range. It can protect our entire exclusive economic zone. It is supersonic. Pag tumira to, patay na yung barko, hindi na makakatakbo. No? And it was developed by Russia originally. Therefore, it is developed to counter the most powerful navy in the world. What's the most powerful navy in the world? It's the US Navy. So ito pong missile na ito, panlaban sa pinaka makapangyarihang navy sa mundo. Yun po ang suggestion ni Roy Goles. 200 of these missiles. If you have 200 of these missiles, no navy in the world will play around with you. We will be what I've called myself a porcupine nation. If you touch us, you bleed.
Yeah.
We can do that. Pero hindi po ina-advise yan sa atin ng Amerika kasi we will become militarily self-sufficient. They finally agreed for us to buy the BrahMos missile when India joined the Indo-Pacific Alliance. Nung sumali na India, hindi na pwedeng kontrahin yung BrahMos missile, then we were able to finally buy it.
Kaya tingnan natin ang ating pinag-uusapan, Sir Rick, we have to balance our diplomacy. Nagkaroon recently itong incident na nag-laser ang isang barko ng China, ni-laser yung isang barko ng Pilipinas. Nako, nagsalita na yung mga kalaban ni President Bongbong na sinabi, ay, makakabulag, masira ng mata, etc. Pinatawag ng ating presidente, yung Chinese ambassador, nag-usap. Hindi natin alam lahat ng detalye doon, ngunit nag-uusap. Sapagkat yun ang pinagkasunduan ni President Xi Jinping at ni President Bongbong Marcos. Mag-usap tayo kung may hibaan. Ngunit, ano ang mangyayari ngayon? This dangerous tightrope that our country is treading. Hindi lang ating Pangulo, pero tayo rin.
Itong nangyari nito sa Ayungin Sol, parang hindi ko masundan. Dahil parang ang usapan lang naman dito. Eh kung papasok kayo, magsabi kayo. Diba? Pero mukhang sinasadya ng Coast Guard natin at saka ng mga armed forces elements na pumasok dyan, basta. No? Eh siyempre, pag pumasok sila basta ron, i-challenge sila. At sina-challenge na sila noon, challenge sila ulit. Ngayon, bullying ang tawag nila dyan. Sino ngayon ang bubuli dyan? Yung nanggagato o yung nagre-respond? Sorry.
Well, tingin ko rito, no? Dapat suriin niya kung anong kunin nangyari. Sinasabi ng mga nasa Coast Guard na nagkaroon ng military grade laser na
Pati yung sinatag yung nagabasa doon.
Sabi naman ng China,
ito ay
para bang it is a handheld navigational laser. Meron po mga navigational laser. Ang ginagamit po yan para matansya kung gaano kalayo yung isang pinatatamaan mo. Pero hindi mo yan itatama sa tao. Siyempre, itatama mo yan, halimbawa, doon sa dulo ng barko para hindi matamaan yung ano. Ngayon, ano ba talaga nangyari rito? Eh, dyan po kailangan yung pagsusuri. Ngayon, ang malungkot po nangyari dito sa controversy na to, at hindi po sinasabing kung sino ang tama, dapat po yung ganyang mga insidente, imbis na ibulgar ng kagad sa media, kailangan idaan sa pinag-usapang magkakaroon ng panayam para usisahin kung ano talaga nangyari. That is the way that incidents para bang discussion mechanism should work. May nangyari, imbis na mag-media ka na kaagad, ibigay mo dun yung report, tapos pag-uusapan ng mga nandoon at uusisahin kung ano talaga nangyari. No? Pero ang nangyari, gaya ng hindi it's the first time, gaya nangyari din noon, ando na kagad sa media. I have nothing against the media, they will report it if they are given the report. But really, the way that mechanism was supposed to work, when something happens, it's reported internally to the dialogue mechanism, and then they sort it out there and come to at least some resolution, no? Eh, hindi po ganun nangyari. Nandun na kagad sa front page, no? Ang hirap po sa ganyan, pag nasa front page na, pride comes in and national pride comes in. Hindi kami gumawa niyan. Nagtuturoan na yung dalawang bansa. That's just not the way if you want to be, harmonious, that's not the way to do it.
But that's-
Anyway,
yeah.
yun po, nangyari na.
Si Junior ba ay nadala ng Cebuyo ng kanyang damdamin dahil imbis na imbitahin ang Chinese ambassador, ay sinomon. So may diferensya ba yun?
Again, it's a matter of words, Words have such a big effect. Ang nangyayari dito kasi sa paggamit mo ng salita. Siya ba ang nagsabi, I summon you? Because when you use that word para mabigat, or was that, as Sir Rico say, media, pag pinag-uusapan natin ng media, ay nako, ang habang storya na yan. You will remember that in the wars that occurred since 1946, when the United Nations was first formed, karamihan dyan ay dala talaga ng media. Remember the Vietnam War? Bakit parati binabanggit yan? Kasi yun ang nag-stand ko naglalali kami against the Vietnam War noon So yun, sinasabi, we were winning in Vietnam. Sabi ng Amerika, they were winning, always winning. Pero nakikita mo naman yung mga rally sa Amerika. Lahat ayaw magpasumama sa mga sundalo ng Amerikano. So in several of these wars, sila nang parating sinasabi, that is media, yung sinasabi mo nga, Sir Rick. Bakit nagkakaganon? Kasi what is sensational is what will sell. So whether that is exactly what the truth is, hindi yun ang nilalabas, pero kung ano yung mapakinggan sa TV, anong madidinig sa radyo, anong babasahin. So, should there be a change in this? Hindi na. Ganyan talaga. That is really how it goes. Afghanistan, ano nangyari doon? Biglang-bigla. Nag-alisan. Nilabas ba ng media na yung mga naiwan doon, walang pupuntahan, yung mga kababaihan doon na, well, anyway, let's talk about the abuse of the Taliban, etc. Sa Syria, ganun din. Yung kanilang presidente, Bashar al-Assad, doktor yun Ano bang gusto niya sa gera? Pero pumasok na naman, anong sinasabi ng media? Ayan kasi gawa ng Al-Qaeda, gawa ng mga Taliban, gawa ng mga yan. So all of this, even the United Nations, sinabi rin na sinusuportahan din ng mga Amerikano itong mga wars of liberation na ito't lahat. Ngunit, as you said, Sir Rick, it doesn't come out that way. So how can there be a change of perception in the world if the media really operates that way? And we know how the media is controlled. Sinasabi nga, bakit ba tawag doon Western press? Bakit ang tinatawag doon ay yun parati? Sapagkat sila ang gumagamit ng salita para makuha ang suporta ng mga tao in favor of somebody, a power that wants to remain as a power.
The media in particular, dito sa ating bansa, what I noticed, especially when it comes to this basis issue, para talagang mas kumikiling na pabor sa bases. At nasabi ko yan for two reasons, And I've mentioned them already earlier. Parang walang nagsasalita o nagtatanong tungkol sa risk o sa panganib na dala nitong base. You mentioned an interview by Jarius Bundok. Si Jarius, sabi niya, after Taiwan, baka raw Pilipinas na ang sumunod na bumagsak. But is there anybody asking what these cases, what dangers there are? Nobody's asking. Then the second thing, related to, I mentioned also earlier, kailangan daw itong base para protektahan yung mga isla malayo sa dagat. But you are endangering the existing the nation. Yeah. Yung mismo mga Pilipino narito na. Is that worth the risk? Yun po, I challenge the media to raise these very basic points. Nobody's raising them. Nobody's asking questions.
The life and death.
Simple. And I will, kung kayo sa media, nakatira kayo sa Cebu, sa Cagayan de Oro, are you gonna, okay lang ba to sa inyo? Na pwedeng atakihin yung
nagsalita yung governor sa Cagayan. Si Governor Mambo. We quoted him the last time. Pero hanggang doon na lang. Hindi na ito kinwento sa media. Na, yun na nga sinasabi niya. China was never an invader. Kasabi niya, wala naman talagang pumunta na China dito para labanan tayo. Bakit dito sa Cagayan, maglalagay kayo ng base dito, ang kalaban nyo ang China? What is this? Hindi niya maintindihan. But then, as you said, Sir Ray, there is nobody in media. Hindi mo naman kailangan ng ano dito, rocket science, sabi nga. Plain and simple common sense. Bakit magkakaroon ng mga American troops, American equipment, American lahat na yan, facilities sa ating lugar na gagamitin ito for disaster response? Yun ang nakalagay doon. Bakit? Kaya ba nila yung kanilang mga tangke iharang sa eastern seaboard natin? Para yung 34 typhoons na galing sa Pacific, hindi papasok dito sa atin, hindi tayo magbabaha. Kaya ba ng mga base na yan, na itigil yung mga earthquake na yan, nangyari lang ngayon sa Masbate?
Climate change.
Oo. Ito, sabi nga nila, yung mga joint military exercise, and that is another danger. Tuturuan tayo ng military exercises. Bakit? Nakita na ba nila yung ating mga forest, yung ating mga, at sino ang kalaban natin sa ating mga bulubundukan? I mean, who is the enemy that we have to fight?
Pero para tayong by induction, no? Ay nadadrag into thinking na meron ng foreign policy si Marcos Jr. Meron na ba talagang foreign policy insofar as this is concerned? Kababalik lang niya sa China, January 3 to 5. Ang ganda-ganda ng storya. Pagdating niya sa Davos, iba ng takbo ng mga events. No? So, is there really a foreign policy already? Kasi siya lang ang makakagawa niya dahil siya ang chief architect niya. So, ano ba talaga ang foreign policy natin when it comes to these two great powers?
Well, yung
Maliwanag ang pagbasa niya.
maganda, ito nangyari. I will just quote President Marcos. When he was in China, tinanong siya, he made a statement that Asia is being pressured to take sides between these superpowers, and Asia does not want. Sinabi niya, no? Then when he was in, you also said,
Kulang na lang sabihin Asia for Asia.
dapat, well, in fact, he said something like that. He said, the Asia Pacific should determine the future of the Asia Pacific, nobody else. So talaga sinasabi niya, Asia for Asians, at sinabi din niya, not taking sides. Tapos binaliktad niya. Kasi he did take sides. We took sides. We took the side of America. We will allow them to set up their forces here to attack who? To attack China. I mean, so parang, if that's foreign policy, it kind of suddenly went in reverse. So, again, media is not pointing this out. Media is not pointing this out. A very clear reversal of something that was said, we will not take sides, and then suddenly, we take sides. No? To the great danger of our people. Mapapahamak po tayo rito.
Pero pa siya sinabi na we will not, something like we will not weaponize the country, something like that, kasi daw kulang sa armas and all that stuff.
He made a statement that we will not enlarge our armory. Yan ang sinabi niya sa Davos. Hindi daw natin dadagdagan ng pwersa natin. At ang naintindihan ko ron, it may be in relation to fighting over the South China Sea, but not specifically all our forces. But ngayon, sa kinawian nitong mga base para sa Amerika, we really will not increase our armory. Why? Because America will just protect. Balik na naman tayo sa pagdepende sa Amerika para sa ating external defense. At yung ating mga armed forces ay primarily for internal security. No, anyway, but
Let me take you a little bit further away, but still within the area.
sige.
The United States failed Taiwan. Hindi recently, but on January 1, 1979, the day the United States formally severed relations with Taiwan, when the U.S. and the People's Republic of China formally established diplomatic relations, thereby bringing it to the One China policy, for which the Philippines and the United States both signed with the United Nations, and this is the policy of the United Nations. So ano ba talaga ang nangyayari sa Taiwan? Do you believe China will invade Taiwan? Or if Taiwan is invaded, would you really believe that the U.S. will come to the rescue of Taiwan?
Okay, those are three questions. President Biden Joseph Biden has said 3 times the US will defend Taiwan. Now, immediately the White House would backtrack because that actually is not the policy in the law of the United States. The law says the United States will help Taiwan defend itself. The law does not say that America will defend Taiwan. But 3 times over the past year, Joseph Biden himself said, if there is a invasion, America will defend Taiwan. So that's one. 2, regarding yung one China policy, actually, the government in Taiwan and the government in China agree that there's only one China. Except that they, of course, the difference is that they both claim to be the rightful government. No? Of course, the whole world accepts that Beijing is the rightful power, or the dominant power, and not Taiwan. No? So ito ngayong, ang tanong ngayon is, will the US really, go by what Joseph Biden said, President Biden, and actually defend Taiwan? Well, it seems they are doing that. Kaya po tayo pinilalagyan ng pwersa ng Pilipinas para depensahan ng Amerika ang Taiwan. No? Para depensahan ng Amerika ang Taiwan. And here is one other thing I would add, and I'm not imputing any motive on any country, no? But just judging from history, whenever we had major wars in Europe and in Asia, as you saw in World War II, the enemies of America are weakened and devastated, but America comes away unscathed. You can look at World War I, you can look at World War II, you can look at the Middle East, you can look at the Korean War. The adversaries of America are devastated, but America itself emerges, actually, relatively speaking, in a stronger position.
And America wants war. You could see that also in history.
Again, I will not say that, but they have actually waged 6 or 7 wars.
And that is very clear as far as their own history is concerned. Powell went to the United Nations and screamed at the top of his voice that there are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Which was, of course, false.
Which, of course, is false, because you had 3 different groups from the United Nations composed of nuclear physicists, scientists, and whatever else is involved in weapons of mass destruction who went to Iraq to look, and they came back and they said, voila, there is none. And yet, America invaded Iraq because they said that there are weapons of mass destruction. You see the lie that they present to the world because they want the war. And what is it? What happened in Iraq? Oh, di ba? Kasi nga, kinuha ng Iraq ang Kuwait. When I interviewed Saddam Hussein, that's exactly what he said.
But this is a sole record of wars.
Yeah, exactly.
For instance, I started with the Korean War. When the Chinese was about to cross the Yellow River because the US were threatening it.
38 parallel.
But suddenly the US asked for an armistice. So talo doon ang US. Sa Vietnam, ganun din na nangyari.
Exactly.
Talo rin sila sa Vietnam. Sabi mo nga, walang WMD sa Iraq. The Enlarged War only created the death of Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi. They failed in Afghanistan. They're failing in Ukraine. They're failing in creating civil disunity among the European allies. And then they shift softly to China with the Wuhan virus. So, yung pala, sa University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill yung nagsimula. Way back in 2008. And now, they might be failing in Taiwan. So with this record, is the US ready for yet another big war?
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully,
Is there economy?
obviously, nobody wants war really. Ngayon, ang unang siyempre sinusubaybayan natin kung ano mangyayari sa Europa at doon, what's coming out from expert analysts that are not towing the American line, the Russians are now attacking. And the expectation of these analysts is they will destroy the Ukrainian army. And Ukraine may be partitioned, or you will have 2 will have a certain area under Russian control, and NATO will then have to, position itself to defend against this. And the end result there is that NATO will become even more dependent and closely allied with the United States. We have now a similar division of Asia between China and the areas allied with America, starting from Japan through the Philippines. You'll notice even Vietnam is not joining with this. Vietnam does not want American bases, but we are giving them 9. And in fact, our security threat from China is much less than Vietnam. They actually had a war with China, and they have a border.
China,
Yeah, they have a border with China. We have a vast expanse of ocean that will be very difficult to cross. So really, these bases are a danger to us and not even necessary for our defense. I'll tell you one thing. If we are ever attacked by a hostile power, all of Asia and the Western powers will defend us. Why? Because they cannot afford to lose the Philippines to a hostile power. Even if their bases are not here, they will defend us because it's a security nightmare for them to lose the Philippines. And given the naval powers of UK, Australia, Japan, the United States, there is no way a foreign power can cross the South China Sea to invade us. That will not happen. Even those who are looking at the Taiwan invasion are saying this is very, very difficult. Why? Because the waters between Taiwan and China is wider than the English Channel, which they had to cross to invade D-Day.
D-Day, Normandy.
That's how difficult it is. D-Day, they had to, can you imagine the massive invasion?
Exactly, yes.
And Taiwan is a wider expanse of water. And of course, we are even further away.
Let me bring this closer to home.
Okay.
So, tapos yata yung time natin.
Di ba, mahaba dahil tuloy-tuloy tayo mga commercials. Ang dito is, nasa post-pandemic recovery tayo. Huwag nakalimutan ng ating Pangulo yung economic recovery. Kung ganyan ang senaryo, darating pa kaya yung sinasabi ni Pascual na 3 trillion daw ang na-recruit ni Marcos Jr. na investments dito. At saka yung tourism na natigil sa 1.8 Chinese tourists noong 2020, yung ba ay magtutuloy pa? And remember, every tourist, dalawang jobs ang kine-create. So, ano kaya mag-iyan? And then yung agriculture natin seems to be going nowhere. No? So, how does this figure now? Why is this debate over defense and offense all of a sudden the primary consideration when are the stomachs of millions of Filipinos that are at stake?
Well, yesterday, the president already announced, he passed on the cabinet now to summarize all the investments that have been pledged in all of these trips. Walong beses na ng biyahe. Okay, just to be able to balance this, and we're balancing our diplomacy, let's balance our proposals, the proposals we received. Indonesia pledged $8.48 billion. Singapore pledged $6.54 billion. The United States pledged $3.847 billion. Thailand pledged $4.620 billion. Belgium pledged $2.20 billion. Japan pledged $13 billion. And China pledged $24.239 billion. Yan was summarized in total, which was announced by the President. Kaya pag sasabihin natin, ano ba itong pinagkakaguluhan dyan sa mga laser na yan na nagding sa mga barko? Well, yesterday, sinamarize na ni Presidente, ito na yung ito na yung pinledge at meron na daw na mga dumadating at ginagawa na at sinisimula na. Again, we go back now to the home ground. You mentioned something about ano ba nangyari sa agrikultura. Ayan na. Nawala na yung sibuyas. Medyo may dumating. Tapos ngayon, mag-i-import na naman ng sugar, mag-i-import ng bigas. So that is where tagilid naman yung ating productivity. Sapagkat imbes na mag-produce, nag-i-import. So again, you're asking, ano bang pinagkakaguluhan ng Presidente sa mga biyaheng ito? Well, sabi nga ni Sir Rick, it is important, kaya namin siguro 3 beses na namin ito inuulit, itong EDCA na ito, itong mga base na ito, sapagkat talaga pong nakakatakot. Dito sa mga ginagawa dito sa ating bayan, ayan ang Presidente, marami na siyang inutusan na gagawin sa Department of Agriculture, sa irrigation, dyan sa mga infrastructure ni tatayo. Halos linggo-linggo, nag-inaugurate siya, nag-groundbreaking ng mga patatayong mga bahay. Lahat na yan, sinasagawa. Ngunit, bakit namin pinag-uusapan dito sa Crossfire itong danger na ito? I think Sir Rick has already emphasized this quite, quite intensely. At kung ulit-ulitin po namin yan, sapagkat delikado po talaga.
Ang bagay sa ekonomiya, ang katunayan niyan, palagay po natin na uunlad naman po ang ekonomiya natin, at least because of the recovery, kasi bumabangon tayo mula sa pagkalugtong ng pandemya, no? And the other thing that will push the economy, ito ay, itong mga bansa na gusto tayong tumulong sa depensa ng Asia sa pamamagitan ng itong base militar, ay sususugan po nila ang ekonomiya natin para ang kasalukuyang gobyerno, ang gobyerno ni Pangulong Marcos, magpatuloy. Mangyari po kasi ang susunod, ang para bang nangunguna rin sa kung sakaling magkaroon na ng panibagong gobyerno sa 2028, ay ang anak po ng dating Pangulong Duterte. At palagay po natin, baka nag-iisip na rin ang Amerikano kung anong baka mangyari sa mga base militar kung sakaling iyon ang maging sunod ng Pangulo. So you can expect they will support this government so that this government's power can continue and maintain the basis that they need. So kaya lang, tanong po natin, syempre, ang panganib, kung tayo man ay sususugan ng Amerika, ng Japan, ng Korea, pati Taiwan, at iba pang bansa, na ibig ba natili dito yung mga bases na yan? Eh, ang tanong po kung saan ito bang ipinanganganib na gera sa Taiwan, kailan ba ito baka mangyari? At sabi ko sa inyo, may mga nagsasabi, may isang general ng Amerika, he's a US Air Force General in charge of global military transport. Sabi niya, 2025. I'm not sure, hindi po ako nagsabi niya na, a US 4-star General, 2025 ang kanyang sapantaha. Pag nangyari po niyan.
No. So anyway, pupunta na ako dito sa nakakalap natin sa ating mga But if you remember, for tonight, yung dyan, mga politiko natin at mainstream media, sa mga topic dito, si BBM, tingin ko, pressure lang yan. Pwede tinakot na i-destabilize ang presidency niya pag di pumayag sa gusto ng USA. Fidelio Candido Joselito, magandang araw po at mabuhay kayo watching from Madina, KSA, Belinda Belinda Karina Poco, applause, Daghe Aliale, why BBM love US? Because they're willing to die for Filipinos who know. Why US love Filipinos? Because no need to buy the cow when you can get the milk for free. Unity for more, Rosalie Bana, watching po, Enrico Abihal, kakakanin mo mga lalawigan ng palulugdaan, ng mga kanuto, pero nakapagtatakang hindi alam ng Pangulo ito. Willie Donaire, good evening po from Davao City. AJ, today po, bakit ayaw mag-diretso ni Junior? Na may influensya si Lisa, mga AFP envoys sa desisyon niya. Mas mahalaga kay Lisa Marcos Senior Wealth in exchange for EDCA kesa kay Juan de la Cruz. Gusto sa Semana, si Junior, nabingin na. Guys, counter, tatay sana, kawawang Pilipinas. Dio ano Dio Jan, Binoto, yung weekly na yan, they said. Yun ang sabi niya. Sa totoo, hindi ko, hindi tayo bumalik sa Amerika for our defense. It so happens that there is no improvement of the national defense of the Philippines after Marcos Sr. Hello po to all. We'll watch the replay. Yung replay po ni Amy Marcos, i-watch nyo sa working mode. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagtangkid.
I would like to thank you very much, Ado. And thank you very much to our guest, Sir Rick Saludo. And we also have you again and again and again. This has been Crossfire, and thank you for having joined us.
Crossfire talaga.
Talagang Crossfire. This is Rita Gadi.